Should Christians use social media? And if so, how can it look different so that we're not influenced by the world and just living the way the world does, but rather that we're a light and set apart in our approach to this phenomena that's going on in this world? That is what I'm diving into in this video. What I'm going to do is basically talk about 6 major areas that I believe Christians, why they'd view social media as a bad thing. Then I'm going to say 6 sort of God-honoring responses that we can have to counteract all of these negative things. I'll be upfront with what I believe about social media is that social media is a technology, and so it is neutral. It can be used for good and it can be used for evil. It's up to us to really be set apart in our approach to it. Some reasons why, and they say, it's a bad thing, is because of it can create kind of these shallow relationships and loneliness with this false sense of friendship. It can lead to adultery, really push a lot for envy. It can be a total time waster. It can become an idol, and it can just be really negative. There's a lot of negative stuff out there on social media. All of those things are obviously not good things for, a Christian, right? If you are somebody who wants to not have social media have that effect on you, here are some ways to kind of counter that and use it as a God-honoring resource. And let me just say, of course, if the Holy Spirit is kind of guiding you to just get off social media, maybe it's particularly addicting for you, obviously do that. For the first problem with social media, that's shallow relationships. First off, realize that Facebook or Instagram or anything like that should never try to replace actual friendships. It's a tool. The friendship is what you have going on between you and that other person. And you could choose to call them, you could choose to FaceTime them, you could choose to meet up with them, you could choose to Facebook message them. Spending time on social media doesn't necessarily equate you building friendships. But I'm going to say, I believe you can deepen friendships through the use of social media. For example, you can PM people and have actual conversations with them. You can actually comment and not just look at something and then not even like it, but actually comment and say something insightful, ask them some question. That can get a conversation going, and that can build a relationship and help you get closer. If you're local, that'd be awesome if you went ahead and set up something physically. But Facebook can be a really great entryway into relationships. The second one with adultery. Obviously, that's horrible. We don't want to do that. But you can have some boundaries. So first off, don't spend your time looking up old boyfriends, right? And another thing is, don't hide your social media from your spouse. If you have this really open policy where you can get into each other's phones and whatever, it's much less likely you're going to have some hidden romance, right? So just don't flirt with that idea and just totally not be using it for that. Another one that's really, really prevalent is envy. So I don't even want to say it about don't compare your behind the scenes to somebody else's highlight reel, but first off, that's a true statement. Don't do that. That's not helpful. But then also, I think really we should check our hearts when we're feeling envy, and that can be a good signal to ourselves that we need to pray to God to help us learn to rejoice in other people's successes or wins, and to learn to be content wherever we're at. Say no to the jealousy, and rather than blame social media, you're making me jealous. No, what's going on in your mind and the meaning you're associating with somebody else's post is what's making you jealous. The next one about being a time waster. Okay, here's an idea. Set a timer. You can set it for 15 minutes or whatever. Or only get on Facebook if you have some intention, like you're going to go check in with your Facebook group and encourage those people there, or you want to specifically message somebody or specifically look up somebody to see what's happening in their lives, or post pictures for your family so that they feel more connected to you, even if they live in another state. Have an intention and also set a timer, especially if you're just going to scroll the feed. So the last one is negativity, and this one is really big. People on the internet, are behind their computer screens, and so they, feel a little more freedom to say whatever they want, however they want, and that stinks and that can be painful. But you know what? The more negative the world is, the easier it is for Christians to be a light in the world and to be a positive space. Also, this world is fallen, so we don't need to be discouraged when people are mean, because we know that humans have a sin nature. That can maybe be expected. But then also, on a more practical side, unfollow people that are negative. To be honest, when I get on social, I don't see much negativity at all. Although, truth be told, I really basically spend no time scrolling my feed. And if somebody hates on you for being a Christian, awesome. Because you know what? Especially if you're kind of Western world, I'm in the United States, we have it way too easy. So if we can actually have a little bit of persecution in our very small way, that is fantastic, because that's what Jesus said would happen. The people would hate us because of him. So bottom line, what I'm saying is social media is neutral. It is just a technology. There's certainly downsides to it, but there's also great things. And I think there's a lot of really simple ways that you can handle social media in a way that is not really bringing you down as a Christian, and actually it is a fantastic opportunity for you to stand out and have a platform to get the word out about Jesus. Create your intention. You can kind of pray about it. Maybe you are called to speak to a certain group. I love entrepreneurs because they all seem to be people who are really called to, I want to help people in their marriages. I want to help people in their parenting. I want to help people in all of these different ways. And that is so wonderful. So feel wonderful about kind of niching and having a specific message, but then also, of course, if the Spirit leads you to, say a certain message that maybe is kind of off-brand for you, just do it anyway. Or maybe you're somebody who totally doesn't have a business and has never considered using social as a platform for some kind of message. Then I encourage you, maybe go ahead today and post something just encouraging. And you can be real and vulnerable, but the idea is to not say life is horrible, but to say, look what I'm going through and God is there. So you can really use that authenticity and vulnerability in your social media to really reach people for Christ. So I encourage you to do that. Leave a comment with, some of your tips for how to stand out in this fallen world as a Christian and a light. If you like this kind of comment, definitely subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends. Peace.